All right, fifth grade, we are just beginning our geometry unit and we're going to go over some vocabulary of some specific geometry units. And yeah, so let's get started. This page looks kind of blank, but you might see that there is one little dot on there. And when we're talking numbers, that dot would be a decimal. When we're talking art, that dot could be an eyeball. But when we're talking geometry, this dot is actually called a point. Just like this. And a point is basically the exact location of something. So I could say that this is point A. Okay? If somebody told you go find point A, you would easily be able to say it's right there. Now next, let's get into a line. And you guys have seen lines forever. Number lines are lines. And a line is basically a straight line that has arrows at the end. And those arrows mean that it can go on forever. However, you can also have points in the middle of a line. So we have point A and point B in the middle of this straight line. And basically a line is an endless straight path made up of a continuous collection of points. So if I was going to write this out, I would say that this is line A, B. And I would draw a line on top of it, just like this. This is how I would label this line. But because the line also goes this way, I could also call it point B A. Sorry, not point B A. Line B A. Now, if you haven't heard this vocabulary before, this is going to be a little tricky for you. So this is a line because there's the arrows. It goes on forever. But what happens if I'm looking at just this one spot with the 2 points? Or I just have a line without arrows on it? Well, this is called a line segment, or kind of a chunk of a line. And a line segment is a part of a line that has 2 endpoints. S-E-G ment. Okay, so if I was looking at this, I would call this line segment AB, line segment CD, line segment PN, or you could switch it around. Line segment NP, line segment DC, line segment BA. So if I was going to write that, let's just look at PN. I could write it as PN, and I'm going to put a line on top of it, or I could write it as NP with a line on top of it. Notice I do not put any arrows on the end of these lines because they are segments, so it's just a chunk, these end, where this one right here would go on forever. Now, what happens if I mix those together? Well, this guy is called a ray. So, a ray has one endpoint and then the other side goes on forever. It's endless. So A is where it ends or it starts. B will go on forever. So this half is a segment where this half is a line. If I was going to label this, I would call it ray AB. And I would make sure that my arrow is facing the correct direction. Or if I wanted to call it ray BA, this is a little trickier, but I still want to make sure my point is on the side of A. So that would go this way. My arrow is on B, my point is on A. So that's how you would have ray. Now you could put 2 rays together to make some kind of angle. And when those 2 rays are together, that end point right there, D or A, this would be called a vertex, which isn't that important right now, but it will be important in the next couple of days. All right, so we went over a point, a line segment, and a ray. Let's review really quick. A point is an exact location. A line goes forever on both sides. It has arrows. A line segment is just a chunk, a segment. So it ends on both sides. A ray ends on one side and then the other side goes on forever. Now, what if I have two of these together? Well, I could have them side by side and that would make them parallel. And if you guys ever look outside, even your coordinate planes that we were just working on, and if you look all over the place, there are parallel lines for everywhere. My computer screen has parallel lines, which means that they are exactly going the exact same direction and they will never intersect. And when I say intersect, that means that if I have a line like this and a line like this, they intersect. That means that they cross. So these two lines will never touch, ever. You could have a parallel line that might look parallel, like this, where it kind of gradually gets wider or gradually gets skinnier, but eventually this one will cross. In a long, long time it will cross. So this would not be parallel. But these ones, you can tell that they will never cross. And they don't just have to be lines. They could be line segments. They could be rays. They could be all sorts of things. So to name a couple things, if I have a TV, these two sides of my TV screen are parallel, where my top and my bottom are also parallel. So I have two sets of parallel lines right there, that part and that part. Very, very cool. See, look around your house and see how many different parallel lines you can find. You can see your doorway, your light switch, if you have a picture frame, all kinds of stuff, your fridge, your microwave. All right, but what happens if they do cross? Well, when you think of this is kind of like an intersection, or like in the road, picture the highway and Main Street. These are perpendicular lines. And perpendicular lines are really important because they have specific angles. Now, we won't get into angles that in depth, but what I want you to know is a perpendicular line has a 90-degree angle. You can see right there, it makes a perfect square. Every single one of these has a perfect square, no matter what direction it's going. If I have a line like this, you are not going to get a perfect square. It just doesn't work. Okay, this one wouldn't even, that'd be hard to do. For this one, you could draw a box around the whole thing and it would just be a perfect square. So perpendicular lines cross a perfect plus sign, basically. A plus sign is a perpendicular set of lines. Now, on your homework, you guys can ignore all of these things because I don't want you guys to do these ones yet. But with your homework, you're going to take toothpicks and markers and you're going to make a set of these lines. So first, we're going to change colors. First, you're going to make a point. Point is easy. It's just a dot. And I want you to practice by labeling your point too. So this could be point B. All right, I have a line. A line goes on forever. And again, you can label it line AB, whatever you want. Line segment has a point on each end. A ray can go in any direction. I'm going to go this way just to go crazy. One arrow goes one way, and there's a point on the other way. Perpendicular lines, that's a plus sign. That's where they have a 90-degree angle. Okay, that's about as perfect as I can get on the computer. And then parallel lines mean they never cross. So try to make them as straight as possible. A good trick for drawing parallel lines is if you have a pen or something, you just draw a line on each side, or a ruler, draw a line on each side, and they will be a perfect parallel set of lines. So this is your homework for Monday. All right, let me know if you guys have any questions, and happy drawing.